800 miles east of Moscow in the industrial foothills of the Urals, Izhevsk is the small arms capital of Russia. Mikhail Kalashnikov's contribution to the world's killing fields, a product of local graft and national pride. But you don't see much of the cash going into Russia's supposedly red-hot weapons in these backstreets. To the city's old housing stock, woefully decrepit. Faina Votigova, 60 years old and suffering from cancer, can just about keep her house warm. But her son Vadim struggles to keep it standing. Like the vast majority of people across this vast country, he and his mother are big fans of Russia's president. It's local government they blame for their problems.
If he only knew, of course he would protect us.
Yes, if only he knew.
But he doesn't know. There are a lot of people like us.
Millions.
They're hopeful because something did happen to an Izhevsk resident last summer. Anastasia Fotentseva complained about her home to the president in his annual Q&A session. How can we live like this for another 12 years, she asked him. What can I say? Ridiculous, of course. She was treated not just to a presidential visit on her birthday, but with a holiday to Sochi too. And of course, a directive to the local governor to fast-track her move to a new flat. Fotentseva now lives in much better accommodation in that building there. We asked her for an interview, but she says she's fed up with speaking to the press. But for many people here, she effectively won a golden ticket with that call-in question. Catch the attention of the president and miracles can happen. It's a view of Vladimir Putin as the great benefactor, somehow above the system and certainly far removed from the murkiness of local politics. But Vladimir Putin is the system in today's Russia. And election day won't change that. There's one man who's trying to point that out, but he's barred from running. Anti-corruption campaigner Alexei Navalny, bundled into the back of a police van the last time he called for a demonstration to boycott the vote, just as he is every time he calls his supporters to the streets. Back to Izhevsk, and a short drive away, we come across an unlikely protest. A group of villagers who've decided they'll rally to the call to boycott, 156 of them. It's a dispute over water. But these are people you'd expect to vote for President Putin. They're not your typical Navalny supporters.
I've spent 3 years going to different administrative buildings about this, and now I actually want to ask a question of Vladimir Vladimirovich. Why do we have this vertical system of power, where it is only the head of state who can sort out this problem?
President Putin likes to pitch himself as the ultimate defender of his people against the inadequacies of local governors or the supposedly Russophobic West. His dispute with Britain this week, a case in point. So that's what his campaign this time is all about. A strong leader for a strong Russia. Russia's military-industrial complex may be chugging along nicely, but it can't provide for housing, education or healthcare. Ordinary Russians are looking to their president to improve their standard of living and to provide a prosperous future for the generation who've only ever known his rule. If he fails to deliver, Russia's president may find himself struggling to shift the blame elsewhere. Diana Magne, Sky News, Izhevsk, Russia.